Hello and welcome to day 23 of Flash Briefing February. And today we're going to be speaking about the vast variety of flash briefings that are out there, just to give you a little taster and some inspiration for what you could create for your own flash briefing. So Flash Briefing February has been presented every day this month by myself, Suze Cooper, and Peter Stewart. We are both professional broadcasters with a background in radio, and we also create our own flash briefings. So we have been trying to encourage everybody who's interested in flash briefings to get themselves behind the microphone, start recording and uploading and creating their own flash briefing. And that is you. So if you're there and you've got all your mics set up, you've got a vague idea of kind of where you want to go with this, but you're not completely fixed, then Peter has got a whole host of different bits of inspiration for you today. He's going to be talking about lots of different flash briefings that are available that may well just spark off that little thought that's needed to be absolutely sure as to what your content is going to be for your flash briefing. So I'm going to hand you over now to Peter Stewart. Peter.
Absolutely, Suze. Coming your way over the course of the next 5, 6, 7 minutes or so, all sorts of different ideas of flash briefings that other people are doing, their content, the variety, their styles. And, I'm not suggesting that you steal these exact ideas, but what you may want to do is think to yourself, hold on, there's something here. Oh, hold on. That kind of fits in with something I'm interested in, or I could mix and mesh and merge the ideas of other people with an idea I've already got. Okay, so let's go to the top of the slide that you can see here. Yeah, traditional news outlets. And Suze, feel free to pop in if you've got any more to add to these. So we've got a couple of traditional news suppliers. Now, obviously, a broadcast news provider like the BBC has already got a lot of content, has already got audio content, either audio that's been recorded as audio for the radio stations or audio that is the soundtrack for video. So they've already got the content there. They've got professional presenters, readers, script writers, and so on. So it should be really, really easy for them to produce content. So if yours is a radio station, yeah, flash briefings. A lot of radio stations are putting out flash briefings where they are simply recording their top of the hour news bulletins and popping them out as a flash briefing. Moving along there's the Daily Telegraph, which is a newspaper here in the United Kingdom. So obviously they've got content, but it's not necessarily in an audio form. Increasingly, of course, newspapers are doing multimedia content, but in this particular instance, the Telegraph, over the course of the last few years, in fact, I was involved at a very early stage training their staff to go from print to online, and then more recently, of course, they've been gathering news with audio, or they're buying in audio or video reports from other places as well. So they've also got audio for their flash briefings too. Moving along the top there, we've got What's On in Medway, and I also produce What's On in Guildford. So a daily events guide for your area. Potentially eminently sponsorable, maybe by the local tourist board, maybe by a local restaurant. If people are going to go out and about in your town, in your city, in your area, perhaps they want somewhere to have a little bit of rest and recuperation. They want something to eat and drink, that kind of thing. Or maybe it could be sponsored by one of the big local attractions, who then will get a mention every day. So there's an idea for that. It's a lot of work for you. It's going to be every single day. It's probably just going to be down to you. But if you can get the content from a supplier and they give it to you, then pretty much the hard work is done. It's just putting that into a format already divided into different days and recording it and uploading it. What about a training course? Well, my 28-day flash briefing. Yeah, you're watching the flash briefing February, but I've also got a flash briefing all about how to do a flash briefing. Well, I'll be a little bit aggrieved if you copy that exact idea. But what about a training course for you? Either every single day that you could produce some kind of content to lead people through from A to Z. Could just be on a month-by-month basis, so like the 28-day flash briefing, or it could be open-ended every day, giving them some kind of teaching or lesson. What about a course to learn another language? A different vocabulary maybe every single day, maybe different sentence structure or something like that. So bear that in mind. The smart speakers is another one of mine. So I have a flash briefing all about this voice tech. Voice technology, Alexas and Google Homes and Bixby's, and the case studies and how people are using voice tech around the world. So different ideas, different stories, different case studies. Talk about that for a couple of minutes every single day. Maybe you could be the authority, the news provider for what is happening in your particular business. So keep a lookout for that as well. So all sorts of different kind of content there as well. Let's look down at some of the other ones there. So you'll see another one there, which is about breast cancer. So actually that is somebody's personal diary. Yeah, someone's diary day by day about how they are coping with breast cancer, from the initial diagnosis to the treatment and how they get on, the reaction from friends and family and so on, the tips that they pass on to other people as they live their life, coming to terms with and working out how to work around the different problems and issues that they have got from the treatment and reaction to others and so on. You can see that on the bottom line there. Let's continue with the bottom line, and there's a police force here in the United Kingdom. So what they do is they've got text to speech. So we spoke about this a bit earlier on in the course. It's where you can link up your flash briefing and Alexa will actually read out for you the content that's on your website. Not terribly successful because, of course, you've got to make sure that it's in a manner that she's going to be able to read it, because otherwise she will read everything there, including picture captions, which, of course, won't mean anything to people that can't actually see the pictures. And also in this particular circumstance with the police force, then she's also reading out in a very light, bubbly kind of Alexa voice, 4 people were murdered in a house in... So that sounds a little bit awkward, doesn't it? Because she doesn't realize the context of what she's reading. So bear that in mind if you're going to be going along the text-to-speech route. Our good friend Kane Sims has very often clips of his podcast. So it's another way for you to promote your podcast. Take clips of that and put it out as a flash briefing and point people back to hear the full audio a little bit later on. The last one there, bottom right, is about a daily dilemma. Just a quick question, really easy, really straightforward, every single day, really quick. One question, what would you do in this particular circumstance? Now, let's hit that middle line for you. We got some hints and tips. The first one on that middle line is gardening hints and tips. Well, there's so much information about gardening, about the plants, what to plant at this time of year, about different soils, different gadgets and so on. Eminently sponsored, of course, by a gardening magazine or maybe a local gardening centre. Tips and inspiration could go in the next one, and that's where the sun logo comes in. That's the kind of stuff that you can bulk record weeks and months in advance, and also you can recycle a lot of that kind of inspirational quotes as well. News from your local sports club. It could be a local club, it could be a national club, team news, transfer news, injury news, what's going on, where the club is going to be playing next week, travel arrangements and so on. The next one is from a local cycling club. Every week, instead of sending out a newsletter, they're doing it in a slightly different way. And they just tell their members where they're going to be meeting, what the route is, how long it is, where they're stopping for refreshments, where the car park is, and those kinds of what the weather forecast is for their particular Saturday morning cycle route. So that's really interesting as well. So all sorts of ones which are going on there. And I'm not going to tell you what that last one is on the middle row, because I want you to think, if that was my logo, if that was my flash briefing, from what Peter's been talking about over the last 7 or 8 minutes, what would I have as the content for that particular logo? So there you go. All sorts of ideas, mix and mesh and merge those with ideas you've already got from your business, your background, your personal experience, and come up with a flash briefing content all of your own. And hopefully it'll be award winning. I look forward to hearing that. Okay, Suze, back tomorrow with more, yes?
Yes, that's right. We will be back tomorrow. We're going to be talking all about the pre-launch of your flash briefing. So we'll see you again here then.